Good afternoon, friends. In this series of CEC Gurukul lecture, today I will be talking of part 2 of the contract costing. In my previous lecture on contract costing, I discussed that what we mean by contract costing, in which type of business the contract costing is being used, how it is different from job costing, what is escalation clause, what is cost plus contract, and we discussed about the features of the contract costing. Today's lecture, the emphasis will be on the procedure of accounting of under the contract costing. That is, how do we calculate the profit under the contract costing. So stepwise, I'll keep on discussing about the process of calculating the profit. So when you account the contract account, basically we prepare a contract account and each contract is allotted a separate number. That is, in a business, there may be various contracts which a company may have undertaken simultaneously. So each of the business, each of the work is being assigned a contract number, right? Suppose I am constructing a dam. So on a particular site, that site is being allotted a contract number. So we open an account, that is the name of the contract account of site number or the contract number such and such. So while calculating about the profit or while accounting for the contract account, there are costs which are called direct cost. Direct costs are those costs which can be directly charged to that work which we have undertaken. So most of the cost that takes place under the contract costing are of the nature of direct cost. If you recollect, last time also we discussed this, that is in my previous lecture, that under the contract costing, normally the contract amount is of a large amount or a particular type, like in the construction business, in the public works department or the shipbuilding, this contract costing is used. So if you have undertaken to manufacture a ship, right, that contract is being allotted a number, and the most of the cost that is being incurred for the construction of that ship, right, they are of direct nature. And all that costs that are of direct nature, they are directly debited to the contract account. That is, what we do is we prepare a contract account in order to calculate the profit or the loss of that work which we have undertaken. Direct cost like material cost. The material which you have purchased for that work, most of the cost is of direct nature and that is directly debited to the contract account. Suppose at the end of the year, you are left with certain material that is being credited with the contract account. There may be a case where this material is being transferred from one contract to the another contract. That is, on a particular site, if the material is excess, you may transfer this material to the other site. So if the material is being transferred to the other site, the value of the material is being credited to the contract account. Suppose there is a pilferage or there is a loss or there is a theft of certain material that is being directly charged to the profit and loss account, that is not being charged to the contract account, right? Suppose at the end of the year, some material you feel that it is of not useful or it is excess, you dispose it off. So the difference between the price at which you are selling the material and the cost of the material is being charged to the profit and loss account. That is being charged separately. The profit or the loss that is being incurred on account of the sale of the material is being charged to the profit and loss account, is being shown in the profit and loss account. As far as the material value is concerned, the sale value, that is being credited to the material, the contract account. That is, what I have said about the material is that all the cost that is of direct nature of the material, that is being debited to the contract account. If there is any excess material or if there is any material that is being transferred from one project or one contract to the another contract, that is being credited to the contract account. If at the end of the period you are left with certain material, that is also being credited with the contract account. Or if you are carrying forward the material from 1 year to another year, that is also being credited to the contract account, right. So, means the cost that is being incurred on account of material, as I said, it is of direct nature by and large, right. So, they are being debited, and if there are excess material or left out material, that is being credited. If you are disposing of certain material, that is being the profit or the loss incurred on account of the sale of the material, right. That is the only the difference part, the difference between the cost price and the sale price is being charged to the profit and loss account. The other direct cost under the contract costing is labor and supervision. By and large, the cost that is being the wages that you pay to the workers or other labor cost is being debited to the contract account. There are certain type of workers, or there may be certain laborers who works on different contracts, means they are working on contract 1, they are working on contract 2, and you are preparing the contract account of contract 1. Suppose in a month, for 10 days they are working on contract 1 and we are preparing the contract account of contract 1. So, the 10 days which they work on the contract 1, only that part of the wages will be charged to the contract 1 account. That is, a timesheet will be maintained, and on the basis of this timesheet, the amount will be debited to the contract account. There are certain labor cost or the wages or the salaries part that is of indirect cost, that I will discuss later. At the moment, I will be discussing only the direct labor. So, direct labor is that labor which is full time working on that contract only, or if they are working partly, the timesheet is being maintained and the time which is being devoted on that contract, that is being debited to the contract account. Similarly, there are certain direct expenses. Direct expenses like in the form of electricity, in the form of architect fees, in the form of, say, you may say consultancy fees. All these fees which you are paying to the consultant, to the architect, to the electricity, or these type of expenses, which the expenses which you are incurring only for that contract, that is a direct cost, and that being charged to the contract account. Similarly, depreciation of plant and machinery, that are also being debited to the plant account. I will coming to it later on. And subcontract costs. Suppose in a contract you have assigned certain subcontracts. Say for example, welding work. Welding work you have assigned to some subcontractor. So all the welding cost, the money that you are paying to the subcontractor on account of the welding of that project, that will be debited to the contract account. So what it means is that all the direct cost is being charged to the contract account. Now comes to the indirect cost. Indirect cost like in the form of overheads. By and large, my experience tells me that in the contract accounting, by and large, the major portion is of the direct cost. A small part of the total cost is in the form of indirect cost. So all these indirect costs, what is indirect cost? If you recollect in our earlier discussion also, we talked about the cost that can be fully and conveniently charged to a particular job, that is called indirect cost. So all this indirect cost is called overheads, and overheads which constitutes a small part of the contract costing, they are also being charged to the contract accounting. Means in the, like say for example, wages you pay to the directors of the company, the salaries and the wages which you pay to the directors of the company, we call it salaries by and large in India. The remuneration that is being paid to the higher level of officers or white collar workers, they are called salaries. So the salary that is being paid to the directors of the company, right, or the GM of the company or the very senior officers of the company, so they are supervising all the projects which have been undertaken by that company. So salary that is being paid to the directors and the top level officers, managers, general managers and all these. So since they are looking after all the projects, so on some suitable basis, their salary will be apportioned to the different, or they will be divided amongst the different contracts where the organization has undertaken. There are suitable bases, maybe the prime cost basis, the material basis, or the wages base, or the direct wages basis can be the basis. This we discussed, if you recollect, when we were discussing about the overheads. At that point of time, we discussed how the indirect cost is divided amongst the different works or about the different jobs. As I said in the beginning, that each contract is being assigned as or being charged as is being called as a cost center, right? So overheads are normally restricted to head office and storage cost. We have already discussed. Now the next point is contract price. See, as we know that we have already discussed this point also, that it is a contract between the two parties. The party which undertakes to work, who is called contractor, and the party which has given the work is called contractee. At the time of giving the contract itself, a price is being fixed. That is, the work will be undertaken at this very price, and that price is called contract price. This contract price is credited to the contract account. Suppose I have undertaken to complete a work, say construction of X kilometer of road for 5 crore rupees. So 5 crore rupees is the contract price, and this contract price will be credited to the contract account, right? So the contract price, whatever the contract price, that is credited to the contract account. However, when the contract is not complete at the end of the financial year, the contract account is credited with the value of the work in progress as on that date. Normally in the contract accounting, the volume of work and the amount of work is large. So by and large, we have seen that the large projects, especially the large contracts, they are not being completed in a particular year. When the contract is not being completed in a particular year, right, so the whole of the contract price cannot be credited to the contract account in that particular year for which we are maintaining the account. So what we do is, instead of crediting the whole contract price in that financial year, we credit only the work in progress. Work in progress means, I'll be discussing it in detail, right, that the amount of work which you have undertaken, I'll be talking this in detail. So at this moment, I'm simply saying that work in progress means the work which has been undertaken by the organization. So the work in progress amount will be credited in a particular financial year or in an accounting year. The big problem is, or the big issue is, how do you calculate profit or loss on contract? This is the basic point, because the whole contract account is being prepared in order to find out that what is the profit or the loss of that work in a particular year. So this is our main motive, this is our main aim. So the balance of contract account represents the profit or the loss which is transferred to the profit and loss account. When I am saying balance of the contract account, up till now what I have discussed with you is that all expenses, whether there is a direct whether there is a direct cost or is an indirect cost, they are being debited to the contract account. The work in progress, the material left out, the value of the plant that is being left at the plant, that is being credited. So on the one hand, you have expenses, on the other hand, you have revenues, or you may say the value of the asset which you have, value of the material which you have, right? So the difference of the two is called profit and loss account. So how do we find out profit and loss account? At this moment, I have simply said that the difference between the cost and the contract price, if a contract is being completed in the same year, I would say that is the profit. However, when the contract is not completed, that is, again I am repeating, that if contract is being completed within the same year, so I would simply say the contract price and the cost of the contract is being considered as profit or the loss, right? So it is being transferred to the profit and loss account. But however, when the contract is not completed within the financial year, only a part of the profit arrived is taken into account, and the remaining profit is kept as a reserve to meet any contingency loss on the incomplete portion of the contract. That is, if the work is still under progress, then in that case, we'll calculate estimated profit or the notional profit. I'll be talking these terms, right? The whole of the notional profit or whole of the estimated profit is not being charged or is not being credited to the profit and loss account. Only a part of it is being credited to the profit and loss account of that very particular year, right? So the full estimated profit or full notional profit is not being shown as a profit, if I put it in simple words. So there are certain things let's discuss these certain points which you must keep in mind while preparing the contract accounting or while preparing the contract account. Plant depreciation. Whenever a plant is being purchased specifically for a particular contract, what you show is, suppose you are purchasing a plant of 50 lakh rupees for a particular contract. The moment you purchase a plant of 50 lakh rupees, or you will debit the contract account, right? The plant has been installed, the value of the plant of 50 lakh rupees will be debited to the plant account. So cost will be shown as 50 lakh rupees, as the way we treat material. In the similar manner, although plant you may call it an asset, but asset is also being charged to the contract account. Now at the end of the year, or when the plant is no longer required, the plant is revalued and the contract account is credited with this revaluated or depreciation figure. I said 50 lakh rupees worth of plant is being purchased and is being issued to the contract, right, of the contract account which we are talking of, right. The 50 lakh rupees is debited. Now you find that at the end of the year, it can be still used and the value of this plant is, say for example, 30 lakh rupees. So what we will do is, this value of the plant of 30 lakh rupees will be credited to the plant account. So what you can make out is that 50 lakh rupees you are debiting and 30 lakh rupees you are crediting. The difference of this 20 lakh rupees is considered as the depreciation. Or you may put it this way, that 50 lakh is the value and that 30 lakh is the closing value. So 20 lakh can be shown as a depreciatory. You can treat either way. The one method I have said is you charge 50 lakh rupees on the debit side of the contract account, and then at the end of the period, the asset value, the plant value is being credited to the contract account. The difference of the two is cost under the contract accounting, right? Or simply we can directly show as depreciated figure of 20 lakh rupees. So alternatively, contract accounting is simply debited, which I have just said, with the amount of depreciation. It is usual to use this method when plant is sent to contract only for a short period. That is, if it is being issued, like so for example, a particular plant is being used on a particular project or a particular contract, right, for a 6 months period, right. So directly you show the depreciated figure, the value of the plant at the time of issue to the particular contract or the project, and value of the plant at the end of the period, or means when you are not using in that project. So the difference of the two will be shown as depreciation, that you charge directly. Instead of showing the full value in the beginning and the closing value of the plant in the end, you show only the depreciated figure. When the plant is hired, the another angle can be, when the plant is hired for a contract, a charge for the hire of the plant is debited to the contract as a direct expenses. Suppose a small contractor, I am a small contractor, I have undertook to contract a building, and the construction of a building, the linters are to be put, right. So at the time of putting the linters, I have hired a mixer in which the concrete and the cement will be mixed. So there are large, these mixers are being hired for 3 days or 4 days, right. So whatever the charges I will be paying to the person who is supplying this mixer, right. So that will be debited to the contract account. That is, you are taking a particular plant on hire for days, for months, whatever it is, and you are paying certain amount, lump sum money, or on the base of number of days, the amount which you are paying, that is debited to the plant account, to the contract account. Now the very important other aspect is payment based on the base of architect certificate. That is, whatever we pay to the contractee, right. So whatever we pay to the contractor, there are two parties. Contractee is the party which is giving the contract. Contractor is the party which is undertaking the project, which is constructing the work, or which is doing the work, right. So on what basis we make payment to the contractor? Normally the contractee appoints an architect, or you may call it an engineer. So in case of contract is small, full payment is usually made on the completion of the contract, right. So what is small, what is large amount, that all depends on the two parties, right. So simply I would put it this way, that if the contract is being completed within the same year, right? So in that case, normally the contract amount is being paid, contract price we have already discussed, is being paid at the end of the contract. It also depends on the terms and conditions of the contractor and the contractee. But in case of large contracts, it may take more than 1 year to complete. In such cases, if no payment is received until the completion of the contract, the financial resources of the contractor could surely become strained. That is, suppose a contract of 100 crore rupees has been undertaken, right? And the life or the period for which this project will be completed is, say, 5 years, right? So if the contractor is not being paid for the 5 years, then and the contractor is spending money to fulfill that work, right, to complete that work, so it will unnecessarily put in a strain on the contractor. So what happens in this case? Normally the contractee keeps on paying money on the basis of RCHACT, we call it work certified, right? So contractor receives the payment from the contractee, in a different span of time, means over a period of time, as the work gets completed, some portion of the work gets completed, the contractee pays the money to the contractor. Because if the payment is being made at the end of the year only, then it will unnecessarily affect the finance of the contractor. Therefore, a system of progress payment is agreed by parties. Parties means both the parties, contractor and the contractee. In this system, part payment of the contract amount are paid from time to time on the basis of certificate issued by the architect acting for the contractee. As I said, the contractee appoints an architect or an engineer to certify that to what extent the work has been completed, right? So if the work is of 100 crore rupees, supposing the work is being completed 50%, so the architect will issue a certificate that 50% of the work has been completed. The work certified is 50 crore rupees is being worth of work is being certified, that the architect is satisfied that at least half of the work has been completed. So architect certifies the value of the work satisfactorily completed. Such payment received by the contractor are usually credited to the personal account of the contractee and not entered in the contract account. So the money that is being, this is important, the money that is being received by the contractor are credited to the personal account. Since the work is under progress, so the amount is not being shown in the contract account, it is directly shown under the contractor account, contractor's personal account. Now, another important aspect is work in progress. How do we calculate work in progress? When the contract is not complete till the end of the accounting year, the architect is required to value the work in progress. Such work in progress is classified into work certified and work uncertified. What it means is that when the contractor is doing a job, that at certain point of time or at intervals, I would say, that the architect certifies that to what extent the work is being completed. Means as per the contractor version, the work is under progress and we are doing this much of work. So that is called work in progress. Now this work in progress is also divided in two parts, that is work which is being certified and work which has not been certified. What is this work certified? This is that part of the work in progress which has been approved by the contractor's architect or engineer for payment. That is, okay, the contractee can make payment for this work. Work certified is valued at contract price, selling price. This is important, right? And includes an element of profit. I said in a project of in a contract price of 100 crore rupees, the architect has certified that 50% work is being completed. So it means the 50 crore rupees payment can be made. I am not saying 50 crore will be paid, but 50 crore is the value of the work which has been certified. So this value is being calculated on the base of contract price, not at the cost. Means if the architect has certified 50 crore rupees worth of work, it doesn't mean it costs to the contractor 50 crore rupees. There is an element of profit which is included in it. The other is called work uncertified. So this is that part of the work in progress which is not approved by the architect or engineer. This is valued at cost and thus does not include an element of cost. So both work certified and uncertified appears on the credit side of the contract account and also appeared on the balance sheet. So friends, today in this lecture what we have discussed is we have covered what is work certified, what is work uncertified, right? How do you charge the different material cost, labor cost, overhead cost in the contract accounting, right? And if the plant is left out, means the value of the plant, how we show the value of the plant at the end of the year, how we treat the material that is there on the site, right? How we treat the material that is being transferred from one project to the another project, and how we treat that if some material is being stolen or become useless, then how you treat it. Thank you very much.